So this is a scour mat. Its job is to try to keep the sand under these bags, right back here. So the scour mat was put down before the bags were in place. It's a 15-foot piece of black fabric. It's 8-ounce non-woven. We don't know if it's strong enough to survive the wave and action that it's going to be exposed to. The industry standard for this is a 33-ounce Tenkate, T-E-N-C-A-T-E, Tenkate. It's a big international company, and they make scour mats and large geotubes and other geotextiles. This is an 8-ounce non-woven, so it's 1/4 the thickness or the weight per square meter, square foot, that the industry standard would be. 100 feet of this was 200 and something bucks from Miller's Supply in Iron Mountain, Michigan. We then had CJ's Upholstery in Calumet, Michigan take a 4-foot length of this, fold it over, and sew it so that we've got a 2-inch wide pocket. There's a hollow tube inside of here, which is sewn together here along its length. Approximately the height of the bag is the distance between the tube and the bags. We've got about 3 or 4, maybe 2-3 feet of sand under here, and then there's clay. So if the sand, the idea is that as waves erode the sand, we're going to pump this tube full of sand. It's going to fall down as it erodes away here and try to trap the sand that's in place underneath those bags so they don't get washed out. We don't know if it's going to work. It's a redundant thing. We're going to have this in place, but we're also tying our bags back to the bank behind them to keep them from washing out. Now, to inflate it, there's a hose, there's a pipe inside of here, okay? It's a 2-inch semi-rigid going back to the pump that's going to fill it, and then there's about a 5-foot piece of rigid 2-inch ABS in here, okay? To get this filled, we're going to slide, show you how we slide this through. It's kind of like when you're in sewing, if you're going to put elastic in, you put a safety pin on the elastic and you feed it through inside the pant hem. So what I'm going to do is slide this forward, okay, and then pull it like that. So there's got to be a little bit of wiggle in here. All right, you can see my rigid piece of pipe. I'm going to slide it forward on the bag, then grab it here and pull it forward. And then we'll show you in a little bit how we pump this. Pull it forward. Once I get to the end, this is sewn off. So there's an opening at the far end of this scour mat. This one's 60 feet long. Okay, pull it forward. When I get it close to the end, I'll stop. I'm just kind of showing you how to feed it through here using a rigid length, just like in sewing. Okay, so we're almost to the end. I'm going to go a little bit more. Now that we have this here, I move this delivery pipe to about the center of the scour mat. It's maybe a foot away, and as the sand and water blast out of here, this will start to inflate like a sandbag, and then we'll pull this hose out back out the other end slowly. So this will fill up, swell up, we pull it out a foot, pump a foot up, pull it out a foot. All right, so we're going to slowly work our way through, and we'll show you the sort of temporary tank we'll set up for the sand water slurry. There'll be 2 pumps involved. One is a semi-trash pump that's going to feed water into the tank, and then a full trash pump will be used to pump the sand water mix down through here. Okay, so this is our 2-inch. We're using kind of semi-rigid pipe here. It doesn't have to be this, but this doesn't kink easily. So it's a little better for some of these applications. It's more expensive. These are 25-foot or 50-foot lengths. And you can see the opening of our pocket here where that goes in. Here's the seam where it's sewed back over and then back along there. In this case, we did about 2 feet. So 4 feet of material folded back over to 2. Okay, so there's our pump over there. It's delivering through. At the end of this nozzle, we've necked it down to about 1 inch, 1.25 inches. Okay, that's going to blast into this bag. This bag's going to fill with water. We're going to add sand in then through our hopper up here. It's going to end up down here inside the bags, building up on the back side. The hopper's offset, so it fills the sand over there. Then we're going to intake it through this, okay, which can pass quite large solids, okay? And these large solids, then the sand and gravel will ingest through here and then feed through this full trash pump, okay? This full trash pump then feeds out, and it can handle the solids, all right? This again is about a 5-6 horse, and it's going to pump through here and into our scour mat, and that's the last where it's going to end up. Okay, this is a mobile slurry tank. There's our pump in. Pumping in here. Stirring up the slurry. And then we got another intake going out of here to another pump to fill our bags down there.
Right.
Okay, the thing we notice here, we're just siphoning down the water, is that we've been blasting this direction down towards our second pump intake over here. Okay, our second pump intake then, by filling back on the backside, it slowly eats its way down. We use erosion of this sort of conic section. By blasting here, we lift the sand off in this corner and suck it into the intake of the trash pump. Then as we add sand, this slowly just slows down as it gets erodes away. What we don't want is we don't want to plug the intake of this pump because you'll cavitate the pump. So that's the idea, is to create a turbulent zone down here where we lift the sand with this nozzle and suck it in through the intake. There's also a thing called a ring nozzle that I don't have, but I've heard that that's used for this type of work as well. So you want to notice how this drops down. So it's this angle that we want to create that allows you to add sand back here, and it sort of self-meters down into the intake. Okay, so we just pulled this nozzle out of here, out of the Scour, the anchor tube. Show you that it's just a black ABS. We did drill some holes in there to disperse the flow, but I don't think it's necessary. And here's the filled anchor tube all the way down 60 feet. Here's the opening. Okay, see the sand up inside of there that we have filled inside the anchor tube.